Testing, testing. Come on in, come on in. Hello, hello. Hello, sausages. Oops, sorry about that. People with headphones. Nice big bang on a microphone to start things off. Ay, ay, ay. Four sausages. I forgot to bring water. Uh-oh. You can't chat on YouTube. Have you been banned? That's on Twitch. I don't often get many Twitch people chatting. How's it going, man? We got Ryan Swain. We got BMC Guitar. Hey, you got a notification this time? Maybe I've been whispering like pro Joe Biden stuff. So I get in the good graces of the algorithm, you know what I mean? You don't want to do any more wrong speak. Hey Cody, how's it going, man? Hey nobody. Any fellow Europeans still awake? Any of you guys with your depression keeping you up at night in Europe? The man got you down? Lightning strikes, how's it going, man? Come in, come in, come in. Come into old Gibbsy. It's been a week. I actually took a week vacation. It was a kind of an off the cuff thing. And I went up to the family that are up in Orlando. So I had a nice time. Give the wife a little break from me and the little one. When I took my baby up to Oviedo. Hey Beethoven, how's it going, dude? Come on in, come on in. So it's 10:50 a.m. Where are you at? In cloudy MY? Where's MY? Hey Jason. Got some sausages coming in hot. Hot's trot. So just an easygoing little chat with my boys. No girls allowed. No girls allowed. This is a men's club. This whole YouTube channel is only for men. No girls allowed. Men pretending to be girls is fine. But no actual girls. Because this is heavy metal. No girls allowed, bro. Sausage fest. Only vanilla sausages allowed. Nothing spicy. Nothing interesting. Nothing sexy. Just fat, nerd guitarists all talking. As it should be. Why is rock and metal not popular anymore? Because all you bitches look like me. I gotta put my glasses on to look at the Twitch stuff like an old man, but we have somebody talking in Twitch. Seymour Rumble 102. I got it. YouTube was giving me subscribe only chat error when you had notifications on and was subbed. Hey, they're gonna try and get me either way. But good to see some Twitches in you. Because part of the reason of these live streams is I don't really want to. I hate YouTube. It sucks, man. YouTube. We're all old, right? Probably because we play guitar, so we're all from the jazz era of old man guitar stuff. Can anyone remember? Oh, something happened. Can anyone remember when the internet was like the wild, wild west? where anything goes. What a time to be alive. At least, at the very least, we can all say that we were there for the absolute fucking shitfest that was the internet back then. It was crazy. Even in the dial-up days, you'd have like bum fights and all sorts of like sketchy, just culture stuff, you know, just really grimy underground culture. What's making that noise? Is that my phone? I think we got subscribers, maybe. Or does it say comments? Let me turn this off. I'm not sure if you can hear it. Boom, boom, boom. BMC guitar. Had a jam this weekend at my place. Oh God. Hold on. My phone, my camera is going to switch off now and then. I reset it and I forgot to put on the never turn off loop. So give me 1 second. Some teething stuff. So my camera now is going to go off every 20 minutes. I can't be asked to change it on the fly. So maybe we'll have a nice short one today. So BMC guitar. I had a jam this weekend at my place for my birthday, and the death of rock and metal did come up. Hey, it's getting into the zeitgeist of normal life. Like, whatever happened to rock and metal? Can anyone remember that? I just listened to the new Tesseract, and if you have seen what's my opinion of like Gent and stuff like that, there's an old video of me going on about do I like Periphery, that type of thing. And Tesseract was a band that I was into before they got signed. He was on the old forums, the guitar forums that I used to go to, Ackle, and I always remember them being my favorite gent band at the time. And the new Tesseract came out, and it's not a breath of fresh air. It is gent by numbers. Don't get me wrong, but they do it well. They do those numbers. You know, they paint with inside those lines, those already well trodden fucking sing along, you know, big choruses and the genty moments and all they go through all the tropes, you know, the Strymon cleans and the glitches and all that bullshit that I wish they wouldn't do. But I think they know their audience and they give their audience what they want. So the new Tesseract is relatively good for gent. So if you like that type of music, go check it out. I actually Tesseract because I'm the underground and I was doing the equivalent of tape trading even back then with CDs, and I actually had Tesseract on all of the little the guitar nerds that were going around the internet, used mostly on the amp forums. Tesseract was one of the bands that he wasn't even a band then, it was just him, you know, doing his bedroom stuff. And he ended up on a CD, which I shopped to labels to try and get people to try and get me as well, all of us signed. And on that were quite a few gent bands that actually went on to get signed. So, and they were one of them. I even contacted Bob, who went on to be Periphery, to be on that disc to just show record labels what's going on in the underground, because it was underground back then. And then they all fucking blew up. So I should have been an A&R man because I spotted all the talent, and the talent was good. There's a goddamn fly in here. So there's a fly in here. There's also, my camera's going to switch off every 20 minutes. We back, baby. Let's go to comments. BMC guitars, Web 1.0, GeoCities, personal websites and forums, so much better. Yeah, I remember those. I remember massive bulletin boards. That's how early I am. I was in right from the old shit, where you'd have an email telling you that you had a response and all stuff like that. Beethoven 3, the internet is not the same. I started in 99. Yeah, that was when everybody thought the planes were going to fall out of the sky. when because the old DOS systems didn't go beyond the year 2000, because in the 80s and 90s, people were thinking that they didn't even think that far forward. It's crazy. Well, it's the late 70s, really. It's pretty funny. And nothing happened apart from the big tech bang happened, boom, bust happened. Early 2000s used to download endless gigabytes of music and vids overnight. Yeah, remember the LimeWire and the all the download clients that would give our family PC that everybody shared viruses. Good times, man. Where you'd download Metallica and Justice for All, and it would be somebody's demo. They'd like call all the songs the same thing, but it'd just be some random band's demo. It's a good way to get seen back then, where people think they downloaded Metallica. David Pekarski. Man, I remember scrolling GeoCities for thumbnail boobies the days. Yeah, I remember the boobs would just via dial-up. It would just be the torso would be going up and up and up, and then you'd see the norks. And then by the time the picture's loaded, you're already done with the vicious masturbation. Kind of like almost like the end of Innocence was that, because then we started to see porn, and we started to see violence, and then we started to see all sorts of like beheadings and nastiness, and all of a sudden we all had to like grow up overnight, and it was kind of like a lot of us had PTSD from the shit that we saw back then. So it's a double-edged sword. The more you know, the more depressed you get with life, So now there's lots of people struggling with porn addiction, and good times, man. It's certainly not guitar addiction. Jason Daniel Stone. Who would have ever thought the internet could get censored? I know. I think when Google changed their logo to Don't Be Evil, when they changed that, everything changed. They just went complete NSA, CIA, just stooges. And in fact, Google was seeded with CIA money. So the government has had their hand in the back pocket of the internet since day one, I mean, it came from the military via the same guys that are doing CERN. They dribble it out to us plebs, and we give it all the information it needed to feed AI, to program AI with our art, with our thoughts, with our aunties complaining about Hunter Biden, you know what I mean? Jason Daniel Stone. I saw a YouTube video yesterday. They said the top metal and rock albums in the top 10 today are from 30 years ago. Is that from streams? So people are streaming just old shit, right? Versus new. I guess that's what you're talking about. But if the sales of rock and metal albums, just residuals from people discovering Guns N' Roses or whatever, that's crazy if that's true. Jason Daniel Stone. New metal was the nail in the coffin, if you ask me. I think new metal was the last big scene. Like Nickelback, I think they were kind of around the same time. So a bit of cock rock come in, but it's I think when that concert where women got groped and like everyone things got set on fire, and it was Limp Bizkit with break stuff. I think that kind of was the end, where metal wasn't fun anymore, where it got jocks and the rest of it started getting into it, and all of a sudden we had to apologize for being that, the metal scene had to apologize. All of a sudden we became very sensitive, and then since we overcorrect, metal always overcorrects. So you'd have grunge being all respect woman and don't wear fur and all that type of stuff, and then it overcorrects to crotch grabbing, jock bullying new metal, and then it started to lose its fun. So then it started going, there were countercultures going on, like more goths and screamo and emo and gent and metalcore. And there was little, but nothing set the fire up for anybody because everything started to get very a lot of the scene core stuff got a bit rapey, a bit sketchy. So it kept on like tripping up and stumbling, and it lost the little twinkle in the eye of, say, a Lemmy, a little wink, a little nudge, a little bit of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but fun, and that is completely gone. Now it's like we'd still groveling and apologizing in all the new forms of music, unless it goes completely over the edge where you got like grind porno and stuff like that. But that's always been next to nothing, So yeah, I think what has to happen for rock and metal to get back on track, we need to start bringing sexy back, bringing danger back, and I think we might be too apologetic, too simp, too white knight to actually take us back to the danger, because that's why rap and metal are huge. There's sex, drugs, and rock and roll. There's danger. People live vicariously through these bands. They don't want to be these people, but they live vicariously through them. People would see a golden god like Robert Plant and think, holy shit, we are not worthy. Here we go. So yeah, I that's part of the reason why I'm selling a lot of my stuff. I think rock and metal's done. And it took me probably a decade to accept it. To accept that, why should I put my heart and soul into this, all my money, my heart, my soul into this genre when it's dead? You can do it for the love, you can do it for that, but I've been loving it for 40 years. And in the end, I think I have certain talents, and I'm not going to waste them just to be destitute, So that's it. Sucks, man. I don't have any good news for anyone. That's I'm not saying I'm completely black-pilled. I think the skills that you get from playing guitar and bass and production and everything, it might come in handy for something, So for me, I guess, once I've actually got a schedule and the rest of it and figure out what I want to do with the live streams, I think it'll be entertaining, or at least it'll just be like, chatting with friends or whatever, just over this, lamenting over the same shit that gets our goat, But I think there is a lane on my channel, but it's not a very happy lane. So it's like, fuck. But what am I going to do? And I'm not going to lie and say, I could sell out in a second. I could have VSTs out. I could have all these things out that I don't believe in and make a lot of money on YouTube if I wanted to. But I just can't. I just don't want to live like that, Anyway. Horde Barraged. Could I do a how to get that sound for Dark Space? Swiss ambient dark metal. Actually, speaking of channels not making any money, it's I have to be kind of obsessed with usually the bands that I go down these rabbit holes for. So there's probably a no on that, I'm afraid. But if you go to Circle of Tone Facebook group, just search Circle of Tone in Facebook. If you put up a question, do you know what's used on this? Some people might know, and I might even do a quick Google for what they, if I'm bored. And when I do recreations, and I will, because I always get the itch to do them. It's probably going to be Patreon only, but then if you do want to see it, if you don't have any money, just tell me and I'll send you a link. I'm not. It's not like BMC guitar, the BBSs is how far you go back. Hey man, sound of dial-up. I used to hear that in my sleep. Yeah, the Y2K. David, hey, how's it going, man? My brother. Avi, hey man. Avi, you got a notification as well? Hey, we're coming back. I don't think so, because I'm still losing subs. My subs are going down. Because I made fun of black metal. Hey, Beethoven. Yike Lou, man, I listened to some modern metal recently and understand the vanilla sausage thing even more. Isn't it? The lack of dynamics, the lack of passion, the lack of fucking soul. Ugh. You know, it's good modern metal guitar tone grates on me now. It's like, what the fuck even is this? It all doesn't all sound the same, right? But the genres all sound within 10% of each other. So what's the fucking point if your tone is 5% better than the other guys? It's like, fuck off. Write something that hits, that you know, that you love, you know? Yeah, the whole thing sounded brick-walled. Yeah, because it's got another limiter to go through at the end of all that, because then it gets reduced to minus 12 loofs on via YouTube streaming or Spotify streaming. They all gone down to this new quieter requisite for uploads. So if you do brick wall it, you're gonna get like it's gonna be as quiet as the other shit, and it's gonna be more compressed because they have to squash you a little bit, you know. Avi Scotland Flower. Kids these days watching all that extreme porn must be something. Yeah, that's gonna like make your expectations about actually having sex. It's gonna fuck up a lot of men and women, you know. Yeah, that's right. Jason was talking about it earlier. DARPA had invented the internet, and I think somebody did before DARPA in the military invented the wibbly wobbly web, but they claimed it anyway. Abby Scotland Flower. Google is the real world Skynet. Yeah, Google essentially is the lobbyists' tool that they use to let's just say the greatest investor in finance history is Nancy Pelosi. So let me just think of what possibly could the NSA be doing. They actually got caught. The NSA got caught snooping on a Brazilian oil company, snooping their financial records. They got caught snooping the Minister of Finance in Germany. They got caught snooping on her stuff. Like, how much information does a finance minister have when it comes to playing the market? If you have insider information from what is going on in Brazilian oil companies, you can make a lot of money from that shit. So let's just say the NSA didn't exactly go after terrorists. I'm telling you, data is the new oil rush, man. The new gold rush. Henfear. I'm getting off digital and on Yamaha MT8XII multi-track cassette recorder. How's that for being in denial? Yeah, those old tape recorders, you know, I actually, in the background here, I have a VCR. There's some information. VCR at the end put out something called hi-fi audio, right? Which is on par with CD clear audio, right? But it's not digital, and it's a tape, but via VCR. So there's no digital converters in the old VCRs, right? Apart from when it went literally digital, when you'd have a VCR and a CD player, you know, installed in both. So I want to find out if I can overload the tape on these old stereo VCR, so you could master to it. Because if you overload, since there's no digital in there, you're not going to get the digital artifacts when you overload something. I'm wondering if you overload that tape, if it'll have overtones similar to overloading tape. Because if it's CD quality and it's tape, it's analog, bro. It's something that hasn't been looked at ever. So what it does, the heads read it on a diagonal so that there's more tape passing through it. It's ingenious, the old analog shit that they used to do with VHS. So do I have any here? I have VHS, the good quality VHS. Yeah, so if you want to talk about going analog and doing some retarded stuff in the background. BMC guitar, ICQ, MSN, Messenger, Netscape, Merc. Dude, I used to work for AOL, bro. I worked for AOL in the being one of those phone monkeys for. I worked for British Telecom with ISDN. ISDN was the first fast internet. It was like 4 times faster than dial-up. So I worked in tech support for them. Then I came to America to get a quick job, so I worked for AOL in. It was like the worst job in the world. It was retention, but technical retention. So people were having technical problems and threatening to quit. They sent to me. So I've been in the fucking underground of dial-up. Remember those discs that used to come in the CD-ROMs? They used to come, stuck to magazines, 3 month of AOL and shit. Avi, have you seen all of the James Hetfield AI covers? It's impressive. It is impressive. There was one. There's been a couple that I've actually liked because it's strange when you have the timbre of people's voices. You can hear artifacts on top of it, but it just goes to show how faceless rock and metal is, because all of these the vocal Olympics that you get with people like Lorna Shore, and it takes you, speaking of old internet, whether you had the old fucking cringe How to Scream Screamo kids doing with their fucking old like standard video quality in their bedroom, teaching you how to pig squeal and stuff. That's coming back. Oh my god. Hold on. All right, so countdown's begun. This is the last 20 minutes. But let me just go through comments. But yeah, anyway, going back to my point, is that it's nice to hear Johnny Cash, his vocals, right? Via AI. It's nice to hear because they're so faceless, the rock and metal, because that was kind of a country outlaw, right? Great. Bit of danger, even though a lot of it was, he wasn't quite the badass in real life that was painted, of the Man in Black, even though he was a bit of a bad boy. But it's kind of, it makes me realize how shit rock and metal is, because you don't have those original voices, the Lane Staley's, I'm struggling to think, the Phil Alsanos. It's like, who is popping up vocal wise that isn't doing the gent boy band stuff, or isn't doing the fucking inward screaming and the anguish screams in the forest? Who is popping up that it's him when you hear it, like a Queen or like an AC/DC? So yeah, the actual AI shit made me nostalgic for where are these great singers, Ryan Swain, who remembers the Mythbusters type video that debunked 9/11? Oh, the old school, yeah, before everything got banned off the internet. Yeah, yeah, there's loads of stuff back in the day. I mean, something sketchy went on. It's like with 9/11. Come on. 2 planes, 3 buildings. With 9/11, let's get into it. My big thing is statistics, right? And in all of history, 0 skyscrapers have ever, via fire, via gas explosions, via actual, office furniture fires, like one of the buildings come, 0 have ever fallen into their own footprints. None out of the hundreds, maybe thousands even, of skyscrapers that have caught fire. But in one day, 3 all fall into their own footprint perfectly. The odds of that are absolutely astronomical. So that is the only thing. It's like, not thinking about how did one of the terrorists like passport survive and fall down and be found in the street. Not that, but just that alone is like, it's like statistically impossible in my opinion. So I'm not saying the government did it. I'm saying, did they miss obvious shit? But, we'll never know. We'll never know. The hardcore scene is huge right now. It is relatively huge, I agree. That is the one that's starting to pop. I was listening to a fantastic band today. It's more of punk, more this punk side of hardcore. But you are right. That is Unfortunately, copycats have struck again in the hardcore scene. So nothing really original is popping out of that. But there is a valid scene when it comes to playing in toilets, playing in basements, playing in squats. It's happening in hardcore, which hell yeah. At least there's some sort of underground bubbling with a live scene now. And a lot of it is chest beating, a lot of it is, a bully shit, but it's interesting. And Gel are one of my favorite new bands in hardcore. Avi, Black Pill Metal. Yeah, this is the Black Pill Metal Hour should be the name of this show. Ryan Swain, smoking a bowl to remember when rock and metal was good and fun. That's the thing about weed, man. Weed is kind of it's great, but it just makes you a bit too comfortable with being bored. Being bored is fun on weed, right? So then you'll go out of your way to be bored, and then you don't get shit done. I mean, hardcore isn't as big as its heyday, Metallica, by any stretch of the imagination. I'll admit that, but it's got a decent following and grip, at least on the Southern California youth culture. Yeah, it's huge with the birth of it in New York, in New Jersey, up in the Northeast. It's getting big, and I'm all for it. So if you guys are, you might be in your bubble of being in a bedroom musician like me. So you never know right now. If you want to start playing live, there's probably a lot of opportunities for you to be a bass player or guitarist or even a singer or whatever in a band with youngins. Let's have a look at Twitch. Oh, Ryan, so yeah, you're in the Liberty Twitcher. Why'd you say rock and metal is dead? How so? I just saw Overkill Saturday night and they were quite alive. Overkill are fucking amazing and they're older than me. I'm not saying rock and metal never existed, right? In fact, I'm going to see Overkill next week. So yeah, I'm not saying rock and metal never existed. I think even you will have to admit that Overkill, I think, in my opinion, Overkill are the best live band that are still going from that era. Dave Linsky is an absolute beast, and he's actually a mentor of mine. But yeah, I'm not saying metal never existed, brother. What my question is, who is in the underground? Who is the current Overkill that are 20 years old, that are 19? Who's the current Guns N' Roses? Who's the current 22-year-old Pantera? That's it's relatively dead versus, my heyday. I'm 51 back in the day. So that's my thing. Rock and metal, it's not black and white, It's relatively dead and it's getting worse. But at least there's a hardcore scene that's bubbling up. How was Overkill, by the way? You chatted with Dave? Oh, that's cool. I'll read in chat. Owen, why not get the kids into metal via metal covers of kids' songs like Jim Brewer? Yeah, there's gateway drugs. Honestly, I think there are good gateway drugs that have stopped going, like Jared Dines and people like that were really good gateway YouTubers for getting kids into metal. Because he was... I feel bad for Jared because he's obviously not having a good time. He's like struggling with mental health and stuff like that. And it's not like he's selling out at all because he started off doing goofy stuff, So it's like there are good. I like Davey, the bass player, is a good gateway drug because he's funny. Gets it's good family friendly content. That's a gateway drug for bass players. So there's such opportunity for rock and metal, but nobody's being original. And it's kind of like kids now, speaking of Twitch, they want to be Shroud, they want to be Dr. Disrespect. They don't want to be musicians. So now that the idols are different, Yeah, got more Twitchers. The real Jimbo. Hey, I had a quick question regarding Deftones' guitar tone. I got an okay tone done for the first two albums, but struggling with the third one. Do you have any tips for the distortion and clean tone? I know they used a Marshall JMP and a Rocktron Interflex for effects, but that's it. Yeah, they actually used JCM 800s with, there is a pedal you can buy. They have a fuzz pedal, the FZ2, and they only use it as a boost. And there is a cheap Behringer, I think it's, what's it called, the Fuzz something, Fuzz Factory or something, and it has all these modes on there, and one of those modes is that boost for that specific pedal. So a big part of his tone was that. If you go to my video, I think I do in the description, I have notes on the other shit they used. So I think there's, look at the description in that for a better answer. But Liberty Twitcher, they were amazing. Overkill, no backing tracks, all real, all live. Yeah, they're great, man. Like Bobby Blitz is just absolute dervish. Last time I saw him live, he was stage diving and everything, and he fucked his nose up stage diving. And I saw him after the gig, huffing and puffing, like holding his ice to his nose and everything. It was great. Rock and roll, man. And they're 60. Bobby is 60. Overkill are like early thrash. Oh, there's one more. I'll give it one more. If you don't know, I forgot to set my camera up properly, so it's going to go off periodically. Be right back. BRB. You read my t-shirt? Deadlifts. Don't do them. You'll get hurt. Ask me how I know. Yeah, see, Seymour Rumble, it's you say seriously, I'd kill to play Madden and Mario Kart to get paid on Twitch and YouTube for a living. That's it, that's the dream, right? Playing video games for a living. Maybe I should play some PUBG, and so you can all laugh at me how fucking terrible I am at PUBG, despite the hundreds of hours I played it for. With PUBG, it's the banter that you have with teammates. That's the best part of it. I love bantering with randoms. It's the funniest thing ever. Because I basically tell them that it's team. I call us team friendship. So we're all, high-fiving team friendship for life. We have the power of friendship. It's funny if you're there. Liberty Twitcher, can you give me 3 suggestions of new metal bands that have something unique? Gojira, for instance. Gojira are from the 90s, brother. Gojira are my age. They've been there since the CD era. It's not like they're new. They're creaking. So, they're honest to God. Honestly, there are new that's doing something different that I like. In metal, specifically. Dude. I am sorry, but honestly, I follow all the releases of, the usual suspects with record labels, and there's honestly better music in my Circle of Tom Facebook group. There's better music. So I know that's technically the underground, but I got nothing. All right, so I'm ignoring YouTube chat. So let's get back to... Thanks for chatting in Twitch, by the way, because I am a very new channel when it comes to Twitch land. So let's get back to the sausages on YouTube, and then I'll wrap it up. It's speed time. Very quick, because I can ramble. I'm going to go through questions. All right. Avi, you should name your tone videos Metallica exact guitar tone and the like to get more traction. Yeah, I should do that, and then have some sketchy band like Whiplash that I like. I was like, it's technically Metallica, right? Because the band's called Whiplash. Horde Barraged. Thanks for answering questions. If you want underground dark space, dark space are were it, by the way. Sorry, a bit of a typo. Announcing the last album from 2014 was via Morse code. That's funny. You'll stay in the underground if you keep on releasing stuff like that. Nashville Soup. I must be near death too. I started out as a 14-year-old with an SG Special, a Marshall half-stack, and a Tony Iommi obsession. Now the 20-year-old squatter in my basement calls Black Sabbath a blues band. That's what they were. They were on the blues circuit. Bart Nettle, you're saying a lot of things and it says message retracted. So are you doing naughty words? Ryan Swain. Owen, science has gone so far away from science that it destroyed an actual state psychologist in a debate about how linguistics affect the psychological development. I'm autistic and she diagnoses autism. Science has been, like every aspect, like green issues, education, science, it's all been hijacked by lobbyists. Lobbyists are basically people who pay off politicians, pay off lawmakers, pay off judges. They give them some money under the table and they basically write their own tax codes, write their own legislation, write their own noise ordinance laws to keep us from competing. So basically science has been usurped by lobbyists, and now all the science you hear about are bullshit, theoretical nonsense that you cannot prove. So it's taken applied science back 50 years. All this new theoretical science that's coming out, the bullshit that I've been reading about how they can deduce from background radiation and how they can deduce that these two black holes just collided. There's apparently every other week there's black holes colliding, there's stars being created, there's this, that, and they can all figure this out by a little bit of fucking background radiation. It's like, okay, bro, you have to lie now just to get in your... A lot of the papers that are being put forward are lying just to get funded, grants funded. And it's more based on philosophy than actual science. Like fucking... Don't get me started on that shit, man. If you think all energy, all life, all matter came from a singularity floating in pre-space and pre-time that expanded into everything that you know in the universe, if you think that, I can't help you. The Big Bang Theory is probably one of the biggest fucking fairy tales out there. I'd believe in a flying spaghetti monster before I would believe in spooky particles that contain infinite mass in a singularity that is floating in nothing, less than nothing. You know? Big Bang Theory from the start. That's a theory, right? So it's theoretical science has gone so far up its ass. Big Bang Theory was first theorized by a clergyman, by a religious man. That's the first, before, right? Big Bang Theory was first theorized by a priest. And around the same time that tea bags were invented. So when we were invented tea bags, we thought that we knew the fucking origin of the universe. But because it's a cool theory, it sounds fantastic, we have propped that bullshit up over the years, right? And now here we are claiming all sorts of things about how we know how old the universe is and shit. We're ants on a log. You don't get me started on Big Bang Theory. It's just basically... And I'm not going to say how I don't know how the universe was created. That's my ego speaking, where I think sometimes you have to stand back and say, hey, these theories are getting out of hand. You have to invent dark matter just to prop up Big Bang Theory. You invent dark matter, which you cannot fucking detect. You can't detect it with any machine. That's a leap of faith. So no thank you to theoretical science. It's gone up its own arse. Jeff Young. If there's a ballpark year that you'd say music started being so overcompressed and blah, I think it was, I think Carcass Heartwork was the start of the end for modern metal. I think that is the linchpin. That is what everybody started chasing. That was the birth of SM57, you know, close micing speakers forever and ever. Oh man, that was the one. Even though it was a 75, not a vintage 30. But if you want to know how that amazing record, I always say don't blame the originators, but I think melodic death metal started the downfall of all rock and metal, and most of that comes from the production standpoint. Stephen Thurman, I used to mix onto VHS tapes. I wasn't thinking about mixing loud though. Exactly, nobody's thought of mixing loud, right? Does it overload like a tape at the end of the day? It's not digital, right? So, you know, if I overload VHS, which the hi-fi VHS sounds as good as a CD, and generally when your music ends up getting streamed down, it's essentially going to be CD quality. Maybe good if you got a good service, but I would then you could record, say your drums, say you got your drums done, right? You could put them to VHS, max it out, get that tape distortion, the tape distortion compression that you get from that used to be great for drums, and then put it back into the DAW. Boom. Does it saturate? Who knows? I haven't got a good answer from the people who are supposed to know about that. Oh, Charles Wagner has arrived. Attention, attention. How's it going, Charles? RR, please guys, find local bands to play caveman riffs if you will have so much fun. I've said that before. If you fail in a real band rather than Mouseland, where you're just getting carpal tunnel fucking with a DAW and doing your own drums, recording your own bass. If you fail in a band, it's so much fun. You end up in weird, sketchy bars. You have stories. There I go again. All right, last one. You have more chance of shagging a sketchy barmaid in a failed band than you do sitting on your ass doing what I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? But metal, rock and metal are old people's music. Yes, they are. Yep. And and then when the young'uns get into it, it's usually just stuff that'll upset their mother, like black metal, or they just end up trapped in these boxes of, or if they're guitar nerds, they get trapped in the polyphia type of obsession, and they just become polyphia. So you're not going to do better than them because they've got a head start. Nobody needs anything bigger than a 2x12 nowadays, unless the venue is backlining. Yeah, 2x12. I always 4x12 it. There is a difference, Close micing, you can tell the difference in oomph, because even though you're close micing, there is a lot of ambient sound that comes from the other speakers next to it. So, and it creates a little bit more of a low end envelope, a literal envelope. You send it to Planet Tone. Yeah, I don't agree the 2x12s need anything bigger. You do. Yeah, if you play my type of music anyway. Charles Wagner, my teenage kids are listening to 80s pop and metal and 90s alt rock. Yeah, it was mentioned earlier that the most popular music when it comes to rock and metal are from that exact era. So if kids are listening to new rock and metal, they're listening to the old shit, funny enough. And that's usually from, cool older brothers, or, you got a cool dad. Charles Wagner, I don't think Owen is paying attention to us boomer tube sausages. I'm always watching. I'm always just like a half hour behind. Let's speed through it. Let's get through this. Tune, Electric Wizard sound is in that fuzz pedal. Oh, it is? In the Behringer Fuzz factory? Isn't that what the fuck's it called? Behringer Fuzz something. I don't know. Kids don't know what they're missing. My nephew's school had a live band play at lunch, and he told me at first everybody was skeptical, but live music is infectious, and it has been for millennia. It is. It is. There's nothing like it, man. All ages shows are fun when you see the little eyeballs. I'll always remember one all ages that I was at, and I had a 5150, right? And it was the combo, but I had it going through a 4x12, right? And it just so happened to be in front. There's this girl that was up front, right? And we hadn't played yet, and I tune and stuff like that at silent. So we would go into the first song, bam! I literally see her face crumple and almost start crying because it wasn't like deafening. It wouldn't hurt her because I'm not a dickhead. But she was physically upset from the sound of metal. And I literally started laughing on stage and could just see her reaction. She almost like crumpled. It was great. She was probably expecting like, Yo Gabba Gabba or something. But it always sticks with me, the power of metal. It's not for everybody. Hayes Anderson, rock and metal are dead. Long live rock and metal. Hell yeah, dude. Fingers crossed. Jason Daniel Stone, it seems like most music of all types stopped innovating around 2012. Everything sounds the same now, and it isn't because I'm 49. I mean, when you think about it, every era has complained about other, the previous generation. But now it's dragged on for more than a generation. It's dragged on for more than, in my day. It's gone through 2 generations of suck, because I'm in my 50s now. Hayes Anderson, I give up on mainstream music in 1995. As it happens, that's pretty close to the time where Heartwork was released, right? So I might be right. Daniel Stone, yeah, Science is sold out also, yup. Hayes Anderson, science needs to consider our emotions. Yeah. Yes, she. Anti-bullshit. He came up with the idea via Einstein. Einstein got pushed a lot by lobbyists back in the day. Einstein. That happens a lot when it comes to lobbyists pushing certain scientists. They will push certain theoretical scientists until you don't actually have alternatives to go and study. So Einstein is, in the grand scheme of things, is very overrated. With the people that have been chasing Einstein's theories, they have not actually created anything within applied science. There's not a lot that these theories can actually give humanity, apart from talk for, time travel, this, that, and the other. So it's an infinite energy, it's just pie in the sky shit, man. So there was actually a lot of, he would, at the time, with other theoretical scientists, the other theoretical scientists that would question his theories, they would challenge him to debates, and he'd often get fucking annihilated in debates. So much so that the lobbyists at the time started going to bat for him and he started to turn him down, and then he'd get these puff pieces put up about him in the mainstream newspapers of the time and the science journals of the time. So just like every aspect of life, green, education, science, it's all been, there's so much fuckery when it comes to the government and lobbyists when it comes to science. They basically want to get the cream of the crop for themselves to do their own shit with the military, and they don't want us to compete with their interests. They don't want us to invent certain things. So they have some of the greatest minds chasing bullshit theories, and they're going to go to their grave going through the theoretical path, and they're going to go to their grave without actually inventing anything. They just invent things which invent more questions. So Einstein, it's just like Shakespeare. There's so few people that can mention other, writers versus Shakespeare. It's like the usual Gandhi, Shakespeare, and Gandhi was a fucking racist, Mother Teresa, she was an opportunist that used vulnerable kids to generate money to fund nurses. She kept kids in squalor in India, Mother Teresa. She kept them in squalor for the cameras so that people would give more money, and that money would go to USA nunneries and stuff, nurse. So a lot of these figures that are just put up on pedestals, like Einstein, They're not what you think they were. Let's put it that way. That's it. Sorry, Tune. The Boss FC2 and the Behringer Super Fuzz. In my opinion, for tone to functionality ratio, the Behringer Super Fuzz is the best pedal you can get for under $50. That thing has so many tones in it. Also, another underrated one is the Crazy Cacti pedal. That's really good for fuzzy, glitchy shit. Anyway, that was a bit of a Einstein wormhole. See, wormhole is part of that shit. Have we had anything that proves wormholes even exist? They've been talking about it, wasting their time on it for fucking 70 years. You know, it's that type of shit that so many great minds have gone down that literal wormhole and they have fuck all to show for it. I am a worshipper of applied science. Make a battery last longer, make my internet faster, clean water, you know, energy. It's that, you know, fucking nuclear fusion. That's who should be worshipped, not fuckers like Einstein. Fuck him. Fuck that twat. BMC guitar. I can't stand modern mixes, especially modern pop music. My students learn that stuff, can barely hear the mix over the obtuse vocals. The modern mixes, man. It's basically all the frequencies, all the time, you know. It's like, ugh, fucking fatiguing. It's got impacts for the first few seconds, and then after that, it's like, you can't listen to it. And that the sad thing is that all the producers on YouTube land will tell you this is the way to do it. They've forgotten, they don't even look over their shoulder that they haven't had a hit for 20 years. They haven't had a hit since they used to fucking mix the tape. They're forgetting all that and then telling us how to do it. It's like, no, thank you. Anti-bullshit. Dark matter is a linguistic placeholder for something science can't explain yet. Exactly. You're right. Hold on. Let me do the video. But what dark matter does is it props up because we don't understand where gravity comes from. So basically, I wish they'd call it the I don't know particle. You know what I mean? Or even better, Big Bang Theory is wrong unless we invent dark matter to patch massive holes in it. Otherwise, all the solar systems would fly out of place. But what's that got to do with guitar? Magnets. How do they work? But dark matter was created just to save the blushes of a lot of that theoretical bullshit. Tune, Ingle or Mesa 4x12? You can't go wrong with both. It's all about the speakers, really. If you told me I had to use one speaker for the rest of my life, I'd probably go Mesa, just for build quality. Aaron Duvargne. Polyphia are pointlessly complex. Polyphia are, it's a bit gymnastics. At least they do have a few hooks. But when it comes to normies have no fucking idea who Polyphia are. They wouldn't be able to hum a song. You know what I mean? So that is why, I mean, they're the biggest band in modern metal right now if you're on YouTube. Because you can't get them out of YouTube, right? Maybe it's just my algorithm. But not even their fans can't really, you know, unless there's been a music video. If you look into their catalog and you say, what do you think of this song? They'll probably say, I don't know, dude. I just like them because I'm supposed to like them. Model 101 Junior. Mesa 2x12 V30s. I now have one V30 and an Eminence Manowar. Meh. Yeah, dude. The Eminence Manowar is not a good speaker. You know, it's not terrible, but I would not. If I had a Mesa 2x12, if the Vintage 30 is a Mesa Vintage 30, that is the one I'd mic up out of the two of those. Put it that way. Because the Mesa Vintage 30 is made in England, and it's not the same as the made in England Vintage 30. It's kind of styled more towards the modern, to get rid of the modern fizz. It's slightly darker, slightly darker than regular English vintage 30. But if you have an old Mercer English vintage 30 in that cab, that's the one you mic up. And that's me, Mr. Anti Vintage 30. I'd take that over a fucking manual any day. Oh, here we go. Poopy Donkey Robots here. With he's usually like a random sentence generator. Let's see what he's writing. My grandpa is a midget. I am full sized. That can happen genetically. So I believe you, Poopy. So maybe you've said something that is sensical for the first time ever. Computers suck. That's a nice fucking username for my channel. Guitar and nerd don't go in the same sentence. Ah! All right, dude. What am I? Look at all this shit. Do I look like a rock and roller, or do I look like I'm a fucking... You're in a guitar nerd zone. Guitar nerds generally are the ones that do all the recording of their bands, right? So guitar nerds are the ones who are putting in the drum replacement. Guitar nerds are the ones who are putting that fake distortion underneath all the basses. Guitar nerds are the one that are tuning into all these YouTube channels to learn how to mix and how to master, and all becoming one other, all becoming one faceless fucking vanilla sausage. Guitar nerds have done more damage to this scene than rape accusations, than cancellations, than bad music, bad writing. Guitar nerds are at the center of everything wrong with rock and metal. Trust me. Trust me, because I am one. I ruined rock and metal. Tune, moving a 4x12 around might kill your spine. I would always be that person when you're going like upstairs with a 4x12 and on your own. I'd always be like, I can do it on my own. And like you'd show everybody how strong you are with your 4x12, and you'd put it on there as if it was nothing, and then you'd walk off, and then you'd go in the toilets going, holy shit. You know, you pretend I'm a big boy. I can move it. Like you'd have those big fucking Mexican like roadies with one 4x12 under each arm. It's my people. David Picassri. 4x12 versus 2x12 is like an 18-inch pizza versus a 2x12 pizza. It doesn't matter how you stack them. There's more surface area with the 4x12. Always buy the large pizza over two smalls. Oh, I'm hungry. Here's Anderson. Uncles deemed uncool in the 21st century. Yeah. I'm like a sick uncle. Sick with it. That sucked. Like 70% of the guitar sound is the speaker and cabinet. A big part of a good tone, of actual, when it comes to dynamics and you'll be able to hear everything, a good speaker is the most important thing. The cabinets can vary. I would talk about cabinets in an older stream, specifics. But the actual guitar speaker itself is the most important, one of the most important aspects of the chain. You're right. 70%, you get into it, you know, because if I'd rather take a shit guitar speaker with a tube head and pedals than a fantastic guitar speaker with a solid state head and limited pedals, put it that way. So it's all horses for courses, but anti-bullshit. Are you saying there's no evidence for Einstein's theories? Are you serious? And what I'm saying is, if the same brain power and minds and money went into searching applied science, it would do more for humanity than trying to figure out if wormholes are true and if time travel is possible. All right. So yes, there has been a few things that Einstein's theories have helped. How could it not? Because he's like the fucking rock star that all these scientists are chasing. So if all the brightest minds are chasing that shit, obviously something's going to come out of it. But if they all chase something more attainable like clean water, that will be a fucking massive boost of science. Because science needs longevity. Some of the greatest mathematical minds are in India. A lot of them aren't going to see any fucking results because they're going to die by they're 30 because the infrastructure are all fucked. The water's disgusting, right? So applied science should be worshipped more than Einstein's fucking theories. Here's Anson. His theories are relative, so yeah. All right, my camera's about to switch off again. How many questions have I missed? Not many. Okay, let's get back to it. RV Scotland flower. Elon's Twitter is even making me doubt the Earth is being round these days. For fuck's sake, the rabbit hole. I think Elon, was he? Technically, right? This is how much I don't believe in Big Bang Theory, right? Technically, flat Earth is more, could convince me more than Big Bang Theory, because I think all life, all matter, all energy, all being contained within nothing, a tiny speck, right, is such a fucking fairy tale. Infinite density in a speck is retarded, all right? That is magic, all right? Now, flat Earth. Elon says that we could be a simulation, right? Statistically, we could be. We could be AI. We could be high functioning AI, right? So if we are in, if there is, how am I going to say this? So if we are a simulation, we could be on a whatever medium this simulation's been run on, all right? That could be on a flat Earth, floating in somewhere that we don't understand. Flat Earth could be a fucking table. So technically, flat Earth is more probable than Big Bang Theory if this is a simulation that is on a flat Earth. That's how fucking retarded Big Bang Theory is. So that theory of, even being a simulation, in my opinion, is fucking retarded. But it's not as retarded as Big Bang Theory of all infinite fucking density in a tiny fucking speck floating in pre-time and pre-space. What fucking science fiction are we talking about here? That's the theoretical shit that gets on my fucking nerves. Everybody takes that as Bible, And we're off. All right, I'll catch up with comments and then I'll bugger off. Let me just reset the video again. At least I can sit down now without screaming because I fucked my back up recently. Vasilis Lolos. If you guys don't know, check him out on Instagram. He's a fantastic artist. He's one of my favorite artists. He does a lot of old school, like cursed 8-bit art as well, which is fucking great. Yeah, so Elon thinks that it could be a simulation that we run, and he has infinite money and he has insider information. I think he's wrong. But it's a better guess than Big Bang Theory, in my opinion. And he's a lobbyist dreamboat. So for people that look at him as a savior and everything, he's just another fucking WWE character that is basically got most of his money from the government, just like Google got most of their money from the government. They're all having... I'm just glad Harambe died so that he might fight Zuckerberg, because this fucking timeline we're on is insane. So maybe he is right. Maybe there are, 1,000 infinite dimensions, and we were in a fucking weird one. If Elon Musk is going to fight Zuckerberg in UFC. Vasilis Lolos. Is this on Tap Tap? Yep, I'm seeing you, buddy. Hey, I am taking the Pet Shop Boys ethic and setup. Riffs and DIY. The right fake drums. Sisters of Mercy did nothing wrong. Yeah, I see what you're getting at. English isn't his first language, by the way, but what he's saying is that some of the older, the start of EDM, like Pet Shop Boys, early, like New Romantics and stuff like that, a lot of those fake drums sounded good, right? So if that's why I'm disappointed at industrial metal, because I don't think industrial metal has thrived as much as it should do, because that is Static Grid. So why isn't Nine Inch Nails being like left in the dust by a new generation? I think I know the answer because they try and metal is still in the mud that they use drum replacement and try and make the drum sound real, even though they don't sound, they sound like fucking machine guns. So it's like technically they sound realistic, but we all know deep down without even knowing that these are not the drums that we are hearing. Even if the public don't understand it, they understand a lack of fucking soul when they hear it. Hey, is that what you're talking about? Because I might have misjudged what you were saying. Hayes Anderson. One way of interpreting the theory of relativity is that reality itself is relative to our location and size in the universe. Yeah, it's really mind-boggling when you really do think about where we are and why we are here and what the fuck is going on. You know, we're all just a bunch of electrical input signals firing about. We're not thinking about the only thing that exists is right now. There's no such thing as the past. There's no such thing as the future. There's only now. We can write down what happened in the past, right? So that's one thing that's fucked us up. You know, we're not like a goldfish. I'm not even sure if that's true, where they can't remember their past. They just have instinct. So it is really, really funny. Really, a lot of intelligent people, I'm not saying I'm intelligent, by the way, a lot of intelligent people end up being blackpilled when they struggle. Like a lot of the most intelligent people end up being nihilists. And they end up just, they think their quest for knowledge has left them with more questions than they get answers. And that is fucking depressing. So it's like, what is the big fucking, you know, what I understand religion, right? I understand the appeal of it because it gives you comfort on this globe flying in the fucking darkness of space, you know? So that's why I like the old religions. The old religions, they basically come to the every religion is based on the sun or the moon. So why not worship the moon? You know, why not put all your hopes and dreams into the moon? You know, because it's, if you can get comfort from that, why not? It's, do you want to die depressed and blackpilled, or do you have a little bit of hope and think that there is something bigger in that? This is one test, you know. Getting heavy. The old ways, worship the moon. Being relative. Hayes Anderson. Hey now, don't be mean. We don't have to be mean now, because remember, no matter where you go, there you are. But what I just said, where I am now, is different to where I was because I've moved in space-time. Hey, everybody. Hey. Sausages. This is it. Now is it. Planning for the future? Gotta go, man. Now is it. Get up. Do it. Do what you gotta do. I have a very easy mission. I have my mission. And I'm doing it. And I gotta go to the gym soon to be part of that mission. Because I have a death clock, everybody. I have a death clock. My grandfather died at 56. My father died at 56. I'm 51. The death clock has started. I had my first child when I was nudging 50. So I gotta be like non-prehistoric by the time she comes around. I used to be 300 pounds. We're getting deep tonight, huh? So what have you learned? Join a hardcore band. Worship the moon. You can have a good time doing both of those things. It's good advice, man. Daniel Stone. I don't get Polyphia. It's not good, is it? It's technically good, but there's so many technical guitarists now. It's kind of like lost in the sea of it. It's I think it's a good package. I think their image and everything and really embracing the geek is good. You know, it's a good lane. And I never blame the originators of these scenes. And Polyphia are one of the early adopters of this style of music. The semi-distorted, hybrid picking, two-handed technique, you know, fucking Strymon, Shimverb forever, yawn, but you know, it works for them. I can't hate the originators, man. Hayes Anderson, Buddy Holly was the OG guitar nerd. Yeah, technology got him. Died in a plane crash. Buddy Holly is so, when it comes to the who's who of rock and metal, a lot of roads lead to him when it comes to influence. You know? Watkins, I always felt that metal needed more fans and less musicians. Fucking A, dude. Yeah, yeah. Way too many shows where the bands are playing to an audience of other bands. Also, metal needs to get its balls back. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, musicians are in a bubble when it comes to rock and metal. They think that their feed is what everybody else sees. They think everybody else is seeing Polyphia pop up and Tesseract, you know? You're right. You're right. There's too many musicians and not enough fucking fans. Because musicians, they still think the way to record is what I learned on Google and YouTube, when it is the fucking opposite. DAW is a failed model when it comes to rock and metal. It's failed. The hits dried up, brother. So why isn't anyone preaching that? Bot Nettle, about guitar, and that's it. I mean, they use a MIDI bass and program drums very low in the mix. I love drums, but I enjoy a good bass player too. There goes my camera. All right, boys. I think that's it. Maybe you don't need to see my face. I'm going through, I'm missing some comments, but you guys know who you are. Thanks for all the sausages that popped up. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it next time. Thanks for the Twitches. Hey, before we leave, I'm just going to read out the last Twitch comment, right? We have Righteous Arsonist. That's a good name. Metal is not dead. You just don't know where to find good bands. I wonder if all of the bands you mentioned are black metal. If they are, right? Because you mentioned a few bands. If they're black metal bands, I'm sorry. I am so sorry, man, if you're a black metal bot. Good night, Internet.